Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having a great day. As always, a great way to support the channel is by leaving a thumbs up, by leaving a comment, or by subscribing if you have not already done so. And as always, watch out for the robots in the comment section pretending to be me, because there's a lot of them. And without further ado, let's jump right into it. Welcome back to another News I Missed, where I go over news I missed. A lot of this is actually going to be like news from yesterday. There was a lot that came out of nowhere. But anyway, here we are. At the moment, the cryptocurrency market, at least at the time of me making this video, is doing extremely well. It says the crypto market has expanded by $170 billion in 2 days as Bitcoin surged above $58,000. Binance Coin and Ethereum have also hit new all-time highs following several days, many a days of consolidation around and beneath 55,000. Bitcoin finally made a move and jumped above $58,000 despite new records for Ethereum and Binance Coin. Bitcoin actually managed to reclaim some of its recently lost market dominance. I still believe that the entire drop that we saw in Bitcoin's price in the entire cryptocurrency market was extremely fraudulent. Like, it's just someone behind the scenes trying to pull the strings, because there's no real action. I mean, and I mean this like explicitly. There's no real reason for the market to have any stalling or to drop at all anymore at this point, especially because every single time that we've gotten any news, any indication that prices have dropped, and we get those like 15 articles are like, oh, woe is us, the market's down. A day later, as the price recovers, and they're like, oh, correction over, which is really funny because what was the correction for? That means something had to be a problem in order to be corrected. As the price ends up going back up, then we always end up hearing that there were like 15 institutions who were buying tons at the exact same time as the prices were dipping. So anyway, the prices are back up. One of the, I found two reasons. It is really funny because the stock markets are also not doing very well right now. I'm pretty sure you should see what's happening in the stock markets around the world. They are quietly or loudly tumbling, depending on how you want to put those words into perspective. A number of crypto options ended yesterday. I think Bitcoin had a $3.5 billion worth of options that expired, and typically whenever we see a futures or an options expiry or something like that that is trying to or attempted to push down the price of Bitcoin tends to pop up as that comes to a close. So I guess that's what's the $3,000 price rise, which also just doesn't really make a lot of sense. It should be so many other things, and I'm still worried about humanity when people think that because other people are trading in US dollar based anything based on the price of Bitcoin, when they're not even touching actual physical Bitcoin, that should have any weight, any movement at all on our market. Anyway, so that's the first thing. The options expired and therefore Bitcoin popped back up. But I'm really loving the fact that altcoins, a small amount of them, are no longer paying attention to any type of drop that Bitcoin has, and they continue kind of just riding the wave upward because we know that they're actually being adopted and used and integrated into. So it does make a lot of sense. The other part being as to why Bitcoin has risen in price after some consolidation at $55,000 over the last couple of days. Bitcoin jumped again. Bitcoin's at $58,000. At press time, it's at $58,099. Sure, why not? As per data from CryptoQuant, the recent Bitcoin price surge comes with $12,000 Bitcoin have moved out of Coinbase earlier today. As per the data, nearly 12,000 Bitcoin have moved out of Coinbase, suggesting institutional buying. So this is also part of it as well. I don't doubt it. The really weird part is that whenever Bitcoin's price moves up, there's always about 4 pieces of news that we get. And even more so, I never bring you the after. So I bring you like the Bitcoin's price has gone up, why Bitcoin's price has gone up. And usually the second day, there's like another wave of news as to, oh, well, there was a monkey in a tree and the monkey found a Bitcoin and he ate the Bitcoin and therefore Bitcoin's price went up. Something nonsensical like that. But usually like the after is like a week later with people discussing like as to it, like going over the 5 or 6 points as to what seems the most likely as to what made Bitcoin go up, which means that some of them didn't affect it at all. I can't really explain it. It's always like well, we look through the numbers and none of that really makes any sense. So I would simply assume that we also had news before, I think a day or two ago. I didn't bring it to you because I assumed you would be like, sure, why not? Remember all the mining equipment and machines that we heard had been taken offline for not checks and balances, just like a check and a review and to see if everything was working really well within China. I think a lot of them have turned back on, so Bitcoin's hash rate is also spiking back up. I would assume logically that would do it. That would cause the price to go back up because we know that the network is more secure. Also, the institutions who are continuously buying maybe also should be playing a part in the price moving up and not, a people expiry and whatever. I'm hopefully you understand what I'm saying. I know I say that phrase quite often, but sometimes I feel like after I've said it, I'm like, they have no idea what you're saying. I feel like the actual fundamentals for Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market should be determining the price, and not because options have expired, futures have expired, because somebody stood at a podium and said, oh, Bitcoin is Bitcoin and it's way too slow. Like, that doesn't or should not affect our market. So anyway, people moved a lot of coins off of Coinbase. They've been doing that for every cryptocurrency exchange. We keep getting, I don't think there's a, can I scroll down? No, there's no like other, whatever. It's just something else talking about the bottom of the price. We've been hearing constantly about how many Bitcoin have been taken off of cryptocurrency exchanges. It's been like a year at this point. They're always taking a lot. I don't know what else to really say about that. So the other reasoning as to why Bitcoin went up is because people took their money off of Coinbase. Sure. Why not? On top of that, on Thursday, David Grider, Director of Digital Asset Strategy at independent research boutique Fundstrat Global Advisors, talked about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the cryptocurrency market in a weekly crypto briefing. In the firm's latest crypto strategy note, Grider said that this week the Ethereum price had broken 2,800 to set a new all-time high. He then went on to say, we're maintaining our overweight Ethereum versus Bitcoin recommendation from April 2020 after reiterating our $10,500 price target from January of this year. He went on to say, when new investors come into the crypto space, I'm not even have to read it that. Basically, he says when new people come into the space, they only think of Bitcoin, not realizing that there are other coins that they can also put their money into. Right now, the crypto narrative is shifting from Bitcoin to Ethereum and other segments like DeFi and Web3 apps. Grider says that the one reason Fundstrat is bullish on Ethereum is due to the large amount of development happening there and the resulting economy activity in this digital economy. There's a lot happening with Ethereum. You may have noticed the last like 2 or 3 days, and I made sure to trim some out of this video. There's a lot of like, we're bullish on Ethereum. Ethereum's going to do very well. Ethereum's going to outperform Bitcoin. Ethereum's going to flip Bitcoin. Ethereum's going to do so and so. And I just think the timing is a little interesting. We are relatively closer than we ever have been before to the next upgrade and all the other things that are happening. There's so many people who are building on top of Ethereum. The news normally a lot of times tells us things like, oh, this project has moved from Ethereum and is thinking about moving to Cardano, or they moved from this and they're moving over to Tron. But that's usually only 1 or 2, maybe even 3 projects. Everyone is still hyper bullish on Ethereum, and I logically assume it's because, once again, I feel like that they heard about Bitcoin, didn't get into Bitcoin, got into Ethereum, and that's the coin that they hold or held the cheapest. So there's a lot happening in that way. I do think it is, at this point, inevitable. When you talk about a $3,000 Ethereum, and you talk about the future price prospects for where Bitcoin is going to be going over the next year, the next couple of years, the next halving, I think a $10,000 Ether is just going to happen at some point. I'm not sure if people will be shocked at that, but I think the real question is if Ethereum is able to maintain its long streak. Like, we're going to hit 10,000, we're going to hit a 15,000, but then you kind of, the question marks arise in that if Ethereum does continue to get these other upgrades and kind of maintains its number 2 position in the market, can it then hit $100,000 per coin by the year 2024, 2025, as Bitcoin is, reeling up once again from the results of the other halving? How many transactions does Ethereum then have at that point? And how many other coins have tried to run up to its position? Are they successful in any sort of way? This is another article right here. It says the stable coins on Ethereum doubled in Q1 thanks to DeFi. Like I said before, we've had, I think one of the really larger news stories that we had last week was that there were more Tether on Tron than there were on Ethereum. I think that was kind of the news. And then it kind of, lulls down from there because that's kind of the extent of it. Yeah, without having to dwell too long on this actual discussion, yeah, everything is continuously being built on top of Ethereum. This is why we're seeing the entire DeFi hype, rise to new unforeseen levels. I thought the market had lulled down. No. I've been seeing things selling for $74,000 and $128,000 just like a couple of hours ago. So that market is going full and strong. I think the hype come down came from people no longer buying stuff for, $100 bajillion. But yeah, Ethereum is gearing up for something. I think, once again, the timing is quite interesting as we are very close to the actual upgrade. So I feel like this kind of like momentum train is really hitting hard right now. Here's the actual report from Consensus from the article that we didn't even go over, basically talking about the amount of stablecoins on Ethereum doubling thanks to DeFi. It's from Consensus. It says stablecoins scrolling at the top. Rather interestingly, there's a chart for it right here. And all those words if you want to read the Q1 numbers, which probably not. Anyway, that's that news. I think this also ties into it as well. Yeah, here we go. It says Ethereum hits a new all-time high. Top 10 fundamental reasons why Ethereum can hit 10K. For everything we just went over. It's absolutely evident, and I think the real catalyst is going to be when they start burning Ether. I think that's really going to be the moment that a lot of people are going to be shocked about, and we're going to have to go over the numbers on a weekly or monthly basis, talking about the percentage of created coins to the amount of coins burned, and if we are at an equilibrium, and even if we're not, the issuance rate of Ether is already extremely low, and Ether has to be locked into all these protocols to be able to move, so it's quite genius, and yeah, that's all the price news, if you will, at least at the moment. Let's move on. Now, oh gosh, on top of it as well. Smidge. It says trailblazing Cardano makes major strides in Africa. Pundits are calling for a $10 ADA price. Of course. Once again, it's the same exact thing with Ethereum. I don't know if people are simply shocked that we could potentially go to these prices when it comes to these cryptocurrencies. Cardano's going to hit $10 at some point. It's not the $10 that's kind of like, oh my gosh, can we get there? It's more of like the $15, $20, $35 kind of Cardano. A friend of mine was doing calculations. This was months ago. And he thinks, or so he saith, that once we have smart contracts and NFTs and more stable coins and, 1,000, 10, 20, 30,000 transactions per second and full decentralization, a lot of which he's actually expecting to happen this year. I'm not sure about his time frame too much. He was calling, or rather telling me, he expects there to be a $32 ADA. And I was like, you need a really strong push. I think they're well on their way. I think the entire market has to also give them a huge leg up. If we can get to a $3 Cardano before we have any of these major upgrades, I think we can easily see a $5 or $6 Cardano just off of like actual hype and being like, oh my gosh, the upgrades are finally there. But to get to a $15, $20 Cardano, $30, $32, we need a huge mega push. The next 5 years, totally. I can definitely, that's a no-brainer, especially if they continue on this current course. But I think $10, if we continue the same momentum that we've seen and are expected to see for the rest of this year, i.e. Bitcoin going to 6 figures and 2.5 figures and yada, 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 $10 ADA is definitely going to be there as well. The trailblazing thing for Cardano happens to be the East African country of Tanzania will be partnering with Cardano's parent company IOG to facilitate mobile internet connectivity, digital identity, and financial empowerment to rural communities in the country. IOG CEO Charles Hoskinson has previously spoken on the importance of Africa as a conduit for crypto adoption. He expects Africa to leapfrog the rest of the world when it comes to blockchain adoption. Cardano is now beginning to see the fruits of that, of that effort. Doesn't really matter how I say that. So we had news before, rumors at the beginning of this year that they had partnered with an African country. We got news yesterday that they partnered with the government of Ethiopia. And now today the news is that they've partnered with, I guess, the government of Tanzania. I assume they're just not going to be digital identitying people without the government's consent in some sort of way. This is incredibly significant, but the price reacted a tiny smidge, but not as much as you would have assumed of any cryptocurrency company partnering with an entire country. I think maybe the market needs to see actual metrics. How many? I think the news we had yesterday was 5 million people. I don't know why that's not enough for them, but this is going to be absolutely insane. I assume that they are already in talks with other countries. I think if they end up getting 5 or 6 countries under their belt, Cardano will have just then by itself solidified itself as a coin that is going to do very well in the future. It takes a lot to be able to partner with an entire country. I'm sure that's not an easy feat to try and convince a group of people who have no idea what blockchain is or cryptocurrencies are that they should be implementing that or weaving it into the fabric of their society. So anyway, Cardano has once again partnered with another country. They are Tanzania. I assume with the frequency that Hoskinson has been in the news. Remember the other day when he was in the news like 9 times and I was like, okay, buddy, slow it down. I assume that by the end of next week, we should either hear about one other country or the rumors of them potentially being in talks with another country as well. So good for them. Like actually good for them. Like this is absolutely insane. This is what adoption should look like. It's not people buying, $69 million JPEGs or people spending, $7.5 million on a lunch with somebody who does not care about crypto. You should know exactly what I'm talking about. It's this. It's actual like millions and millions of people adoption for a very, anyway, that's the Cardano news. And let's move on. Next up of course. Sure. The chairman of Landry's Hospitality Group, operator of restaurant chains like Morton's Steakhouse and Bubba Gump Shrimp, said in a recent interview with CNBC that most of his restaurants will be accepting Bitcoin as payment very soon. He said, we'll have it probably within all of our restaurant brands or 80% to 90% in the next 90 days, where you don't have to use a MasterCard or Visa or American Express anymore. Landry's chairman and CEO Tillman Fertitta, pretty sure I said that correctly. You can use Bitcoin or other digital currencies. Select locations of Mastro's, one of the group's chains, will be accepting Bitcoin this week. So the news is everyone's adopting Bitcoin. Everyone's integrating Bitcoin. Everyone's making sure that Bitcoin is a payment option. I still do not believe that the vast majority of people are going to be using Bitcoin in the next year or two. A number of reasons, just logically. One, it's the Bitcoin transaction fee. Just throwing that out there. As we do continue to, and I'm shocked that we don't have more news on this, as we continue to see more adoption of the Lightning Network, which we already are, a number of cryptocurrency exchanges are throwing their support behind it. I assume these companies are also going to be using Lightning-based sending as well, which will eventually become the norm. Then you have a 1 cent transaction fee, of course. The second of this one is simply because of Bitcoin's price. Everyone is expecting Bitcoin's price to go to 6 figures. Everyone is expecting Bitcoin's price to hit $250,000. It's just an inevitability at this point. If Bitcoin is at $60,000 today, imagine during the next halving. Imagine during the halving after that. We're getting calls and notices that Bitcoin looks like it could hit $600,000 by next year. We've gone over the articles before. We don't have to do it again. Not many people want to sell their Bitcoin right now. I've told you before, if we get to a point where Bitcoin can buy you, and I mean like just one Bitcoin can buy you a Maserati, a Lambo, if you kind of want to say that, an entire apartment or a house, people are then, the Bitcoin economy is going to skyrocket because people are definitely going to be spending their Bitcoin for whatever they decide to do. As more people continue to be paid in Bitcoin, that's when it's going to happen. I think by the time we get to $1 million Bitcoin, there's no longer going to be a discussion of are people spending their Bitcoin. Everyone I know will be using their Bitcoin on a daily basis to buy tons of things. This is a very clever way for companies to be able to accumulate more Bitcoin. This is going to be an assumption. I usually assume that if a company as large as this, if you've never seen a bubble gum shrimp, they are everywhere. I don't think I've ever been to one. I've heard that they're delicious. Sure, why not? Understand that this move into accepting Bitcoin did not come from someone texting, should we accept Bitcoin? I can't really spell it, but yeah, sure. You know what? Just add it. No, like they're doing this because I assume they're already in the market. They've been accumulating in some sort of way, and they're trying to figure out another strategy to be able to accumulate more. How do you get to accumulate more? Well, we have it as a payment option. So they may only acquire even something as small as 5 or 10 Bitcoin, maybe even less per month, as people are, using it to spend or whatever in their stores. But this is another clever way to be able to accumulate. So anyway, here's the actual article, news story thing right here about them accepting Bitcoin as a payment method. Everyone's doing it. I'm still shocked that people think that this just isn't happening or are confuddled when they are confronted with news like this. Like, everyone is going to be accepting Bitcoin by the end of this year. If you know how weird it is, and this still actually happens, and I always walk out. If you're hungry and you walk into a place and you see something that is $7.99, so hey, I would like that. And then they hand it to you and you go, how would you like to pay? And you go, with card. We don't take card. Can you imagine anyone not taking card in 2021? Or can you imagine someone not using the internet in 2021? People are going to look, you're going to look insane by the end of this year if your company in some sort of way is not accepting Bitcoin or is not integrated into the digital economy in some sort of way. Same exact thing whereby I give it 5 years. There will be a payment option, as in you can get paid in crypto from every single company. People are going to start leaving these companies if they don't offer crypto as an actual payment method. Anyway, so that's the food for Bitcoin, or Bitcoin for food? Food for Bitcoin. Food for Bitcoin news. Not surprising. I'm shocked that we don't get more news of this every single day, actually. Let's move on. Next up, this actually, I got very excited about this. You probably would not know this. When I was younger, I was obsessed with Yu-Gi-Oh! and Magic the Gathering. So this one was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. Hasbro CEO Brian Goldner has said that the toy and game manufacturer is considering importing non-fungible tokens into brands such as Magic the Gathering, a world-famous collectible card fantasy game. He said, we'll continue to monitor and look at what appears to be an accelerating Magic business, Goldner said during a quarterly earning call, adding that the NFT is a real opportunity for us. So basically, in this game, you basically collect cards and you become dragons and wizards and you fight each other, and it's a lot more exciting than and beautiful, actually. The card art on Magic is absolutely incredible than I'm making it out to be. But one of the main things right now that people actually collect Magic cards for, and Pokemon cards and many other cards, is for the actual value. There are different rarities of these cards. Common, uncommon, rare, mythical, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of them are so rare that if you get them graded, especially, which is also a thing, you can grade comics as well. The value of these cards is sometimes just astronomically out of control. Look up Black Lotus. You should have heard of this before. If not, type in Magic the Gathering Black Lotus on your search engine. You'll get 1,000 articles about it. The really interesting part is actually giving digital scarcity to these things, which I want to see exactly how they're going to do. I'm hoping that they do it in a relatively friendly kind of way. I do not assume that they're going to be offering $500 digital card packs with 9 cards inside of it for the chance to maybe potentially be able to get something good. But if they have these at the actual normal price of the cards, this is going to take off, extremely fast, especially if you've been playing, probably not, I don't know, I'm rambling on. The actual digital Magic the card game, digital, the online one, the arena, the cards actually move. Like, they're not NFTs, but when you get like a special card, the card art actually moves around. Like, you can see them like conjuring magic and stuff like that. So that'll be really interesting to see if we get that into an NFT form and people start collecting these like really expensive cards. And anyway, so this I think will take off. This I think will do well. I'm also waiting for the comic book industry to kind of do the exact same thing. I'm kind of shocked that Marvel and DC haven't like really jumped headfirst into this, because even a lot of times when you buy comic books right now, the very last page will normally sometimes have like a digital scan code bar that you can put in to actually read the comic digitally online. I'm surprised that they also haven't made that into an NFT thing kind of as well, because that would take off incredibly fast. Anyway, I'm a bit of a nerd, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, that's the Magic NFT news. I think this is going to take off like really, really well. And let's move on. Next up, on top of that as well, I didn't even have to read through this. A lot of people are locking up tons of Ether into the deposit contract. This number is going to continue rising as time goes on. I think this is also a very big factor as to why the price of Ethereum continues to increase. They've set up a very clever system where if you want to do anything, you got to lock it up. And this includes staking as well. So the more people, as this continues to go on, and we get the proper implementation of Ethereum 2.0, and more people continue to stake, and the burning mechanism happens, and more NFTs are being created, and more Ether is being swapped back and forth, and more Ether is being locked up into the Tezos protocol, into this protocol, and you got wrap this and wrap that. It's going to get real very fast, and I'm actually very excited to finally see. I mean, it's been, was it 5 or 6 or 7 years that I've been going over this or even thinking about it or talking about it with Ethereum, and they're finally getting to this point where they're like, the stuff that they promised in 2016 is finally happening. But yeah, Ethereum is being locked up in a very quick way. I think this is only going to accelerate the actual price of the coin as we move forward. And yeah, I think now this is my personal opinion. This is not investment advice or any type of monetary advice. I think what's it called? Like the staking space in crypto is going to be the new passive income, explicitly. I think people are going to be buying coins, holding coins, and I think it's going to be a lot of the legacy coins, the coins that we already have that are going to do the best with that. I don't think people will trust any coin that will be coming from a bank that says, hey, you leave your digital coin with us and we give you 1% per year, as opposed to the actual like great numbers that you could get from normal DeFi and normal cryptocurrency. So I think those coins will come out and then they'll completely collapse. But the idea of fragmentational investing is going to completely take off. Once again, people buying fragments of self-driving cars and of almost said Ubbers, of Airbnbs and all these other things like that is going to take off. But also the idea of let me accumulate more of this cryptocurrency so that I can have it staking in my house or on my computer and make passive income. I think it's going to be, my opinion, I think it's going to kind of be like the movement in Bitcoin's price, how that shocked people, i.e., years ago, people, there's an article online, I'm not sure if I showed you or if one of my friends sent me a text of it. It was a screenshot from Reddit, and this guy was saying, this is 2010, he was like, I'm feeling really bad today. He's like, I managed to only accumulate 5,000 Bitcoin. I wish I had more. I feel like I missed the boat. It was something weird along those lines, basically saying, he wishes he had more because all the other ones had been accumulated at that point. And then I think at some point he had another post where he said he sold at $10 and how great he was feeling because he made so much money. He didn't realize, no one realized that, a $10 Bitcoin would go to 100, go to 1,000, go to 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, $60,000. I think a lot of the staking coins, Ethereum and Cardano, of course, included, are going to do extremely well over the next 5, 10, 15 years. Their prices will continue to increase, and the passive income that people... How do I explain this? It feels like small investments now will make large investments in the future. Yeah, that's it. There we go. I basically said it. So this is why I think we're seeing this rapid accumulation by institutions of Ethereum and of many other coins, simply because, being able to make $100, $200, $300 per day passively from doing nothing in the future is going to be one of the biggest selling points and once again, you are all here now. You are very lucky to be in this space, whether you know it or not. So just count your lucky stars. Thank your lucky stars. Something about a lucky star that's up there that's shining on you. Something like that. Anyway, that's the Ethereum news. And let's move on. Next up, MicroStrategy reported its quarterly earnings after market hours, which emphasized its focused corporate strategy and the benefits of its ongoing Bitcoin standard. MicroStrategy's first quarter results were a clear example that our two-pronged corporate strategy to grow our enterprise analytics software business and acquire and hold Bitcoin is generating substantial sub-shareholder value. Since shifting to a Bitcoin standard, MicroStrategy, there we go, equity has increased by 385%, while the price of Bitcoin has increased by 369% in the same time frame. These numbers are, while, not only impressive, this is what gets other companies into the market. It creates this like really heavy FOMO, like we should have gotten in before, they got in before us, look at how much money they made, look at their charts, look at their quarterly earnings. And this is why I said the movement of PayPal into the space is a real catalyst, because just offering something, there's no real work to be done. Of course, behind the scenes, you have to make sure that, the network is okay and that your systems are fine and the API, yada, 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 and the user interface. But just offering something and your business is making $250 million, $500 million over the course of a year, that's a really big, that's a really big incentive to get into crypto. So I'm not shocked that MicroStrategy has made money at all. I think other companies are definitely getting into the space, and this is only going to cause them to rush in further head first. Kind of the same exact thing. Not saying that this is explicitly yet, but the whole Bubba Gum thing, they're doing it because they're trying to accumulate as well, because they should realize that there's not a lot left, and a lot of it is being purchased by institutions all the time, every single day. Moving on. And on top of that as well, it says data shows whales are buying XRP as public sentiment increases. Also self-explanatory. We went over the news yesterday for those of you who were not here. The head of one of the largest banks in Japan, who was also a board member of Ripple, announced that once this entire SEC lawsuit thing is over with, Ripple plans on going public, which is something that they announced about a good year and a half, 2 years ago. So it was evident that they were planning on doing so, which is why I think that the lawsuit is also was timed quite interestingly, because, the SEC knew that they were trying to go public, as you have to offer a security offering for your business. Anyway, so I think there's definitely something fishy floating around that entire conversation. But yeah, in general, exchanges are slowly relisting XRP. There's no real negative sentiment about XRP except for people who just simply don't like XRP. Hello, people out there. I see you comment. Every time I say the letters XRP, I think like what's the thing? Like, every time you ring a bell, like a fairy gets its wings or something, like an angel gets its wings. So every single time I say the word XRP, somebody writes I hate XRP comment and is like, sure, why not? Help my algorithm. Yeah. No one should be surprised. I'm pretty sure they're buying tons of it. All the stuff that's happening, you have to understand, like, just because we get news about something, I always feel like that's the surface. Like, we are the public. We are not meant to be in the conversations of these multi-billion dollar companies. I'm pretty sure them going public is like scratching the surface of what Ripple, Kraken, Coinbase, and all these other companies actually have planned, especially because we had news before that Ripple and whatever was planning on making like NFTs on the XRP ledger and smart contracts and all these other things. So when people have to start locking up their XRP to build on top of the ledger, or when people start making NFTs because XRP transaction fees are like 1/1000th of a cent, that's only going to keep up with the price as well. So I'm still expecting to see a $10 XRP as well this year. I don't know if it's going to go any higher. I usually use 10 as a round number because it would sound like, I think it's going to go to $14.95. I think 10 is like a proper round off number. It'll probably do a lot better. And I'm getting this number simply because we hit $3.60 before. We are still in the midst of the actual bull run. And when things start getting crazy, I think it's just inevitable that we're going to see it. Long term, I have no idea. I think we could easily see a $30, $40 XRP in the next 2 to 3 years. It seems completely, if we get to a $600,000 Bitcoin, you know, I think XRP doing a 10x from where it previously was in 2017 seems completely believable, especially as, you know, they're still partnering and, you know, being used and spoken about by these other banks and Ledger, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, that's the XRP news. And let's move on. Yeah. The prices at the moment, Bitcoin is currently at 57,753. It is up by 6.3%. Ethereum is up by 2.8%. A lot of the coins, their Satoshi prices have gone into the red, except for Dogecoin, because Dogecoin is just Dogecoin. Dogecoin is up by 16.9%. Why not? I think at this point, I accept it. It knows not what it does, and it is simply doesing. So this is just kind of what it is. It's at 37 cents. Why not Dogecoin? You know, live your best life. That's all I can tell Dogecoin to do. Everything else is like up, but not really up. They're green, but not like mega green. And their Satoshi prices. There's a lot of attention focusing on Bitcoin. I think we should be well above 60,000 right now. But clearly there's some type of a wall that's preventing us from being able to do this. Because I think if we get any indications that Bitcoin goes above 60K, or that Bitcoin is going past its previous all-time high, which was 63,900 or 64,000, the entire market is going to rally, which leaves me to shudder, because I have a very strange feeling Dogecoin is going to take its number 4 spot once again. Anyway, yeah, I do hope you all enjoyed. OKB is up by 53%. I do hope you all enjoyed. I do hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope that it is absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, supporting, liking, commenting, joining, listening, and I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.